Hi everyone, welcome back to this week Weekly Market Update. Let's take a look at what happened on last week and also things to watch out for the coming weeks. And let's review some of the counter that we have went through and hopefully one or two counter that you have picked up actually make you some profit, which one of them did as well. Let's take a look right now. So last Friday we can see that little changes in the stock on Friday itself after Dow's net 4 week wins streak. So a couple of things what is happening of last week, as you can see, is the earnings report for Tesla, which I mentioned in my last video, right? So I think the earnings for Tesla is not that fantastic, so caused the market to drop last week itself. And also, to be frank, most of the earnings report is not at the bright side. They actually may cause the market to sour a bit on last week itself. So not only on that, there's also some good news. It's like PNG actually have some good, earnings above the expectations and cause the market to rally like gap up 3.5%. So it still depends on which sector are you looking into, and also which company of shares are you holding. All right, so for the coming weeks, to take note, the earnings report continue, and for the coming week is actually the big FANG earnings report, which is the big tech company like Amazon, Alphabet, Meta, and Microsoft. All right, so for Meta wise, I think there is one things to watch out on Meta stock platform. Things to watch out on Meta platform, because yes, there might be their earnings report next week. I mean the coming week, but I think and they also lay off their workers. Uh, when you lay off workers, it's actually a good event. Because you cut costs, cut expenses, the market should rally. But I think it's like for Facebook, I don't think there's any the core business might be affected due to the competitor of TikToks, whereby I think Mark Zuckerberg have actually came out and said. So when we talk about the core business is affected, right, it's not a good sign for the shares itself. All right, so that is why we will be looking into certain of the stocks for the next week itself. Okay, so this is what happened on the next week earnings. So the starting of the Tuesday is actually the big tech from Microsoft, Google, Visa, McDonald's, which is a safe one, and then followed by the following days is actually Facebook. Then subsequently will be the Amazon, Mastercard. So all the technology sector will be announcing. So just be cautious if let's say you're holding on most of the Nasdaq or even the Nasdaq index. All right, so let's go to the chart today directly. So for chart wise, we can see what is happening on Dow Jones. A lot of like doji candle because we don't know where the market is heading, either up or down. But uh, when Dow actually hit the 34,100, which I mentioned last week, right? And then it been resisted. It came down, right? It seems like 34,000 is the good resistance point. With 34,001, I think the latest one is actually the pivot point, whereby if we go above, then we may see 34,003. Otherwise, without any good news, we may see more on the downside. But if let's say the earnings of next week showing some good sign, we may see a last leg kick up before it come down. Of course, we don't predict, right? I mean, we are chart, we don't predict what's happening, so we go by per candle to see is there any rejection candle showing here. Maybe one shooting star, this kind of shooting star, and then we will decide from there what is the next action to take. All right, so the otherwise we will stick to our level whereby 34,000 or 34,300 as the resistance level currently. Okay, so this is what I biased previously, but it seems like because I believe the earnings report will be reporting good, but it seems like it's not after the banks, right? So next week, which is the coming week, tech sector is actually important, and also for tech index itself, um, tech Nasdaq, we can see that technology have been moving sideways. It's trying to either a breakup or breakdown, as we know, right? So it's trying to wait for the sign of what is coming up next week, and then we will have a decisions whether which direction we continue to go. Okay, so that is my thoughts for Nasdaq itself. Okay, so then we will go into Tesla. Tesla, which I mentioned, I'm not sure how many of you actually took my words for seriously. After I say that why should we not I think there's a couple of reasons I wrote in the uh, Telegram as well. We are more on the downside, so break 180 and then we will see lower, right? So after that it gapped down. I think the earnings may not be to the expectations, and that is why causes the market to gap down on Wednesday itself, right? So right now it actually hit the 160. Our first resistance support is 150, 150 to 120. That is the next support level. So but there's a gap right now we are looking at. Okay, there's a gap right now we are looking at. If this gap able to fulfill, they come down, will be tough. But if let's say the sentiment is not doing well, it should continue to go down. All right, so 150 will be the next support level for Tesla itself. Okay, so if you want to change to short now, there is a bit too late, alright? Because I mentioned previously, 8th of April, there's so many times for you to prepare to short. Yeah, somebody might want to skip due to earnings. It's totally fine. So if you skip, then right now it kept down, so please skip away as well. Okay, so that is my thought for Tesla. And then we go into C3. Okay, C3 AI, right? I want to talk about this stock because I've been looking at it since many months ago, right? And then what happened on last Friday, we can see that it actually penetrate, okay, but it never closed below. It penetrate $20, which is one of the sign of weakness. Yes, one of the sign of the weakness, but is it a good sign? I think it's kind of like good sign because it's too heavy at $20 this time round. Alright, everyone who do chartings, they know that this is the support level. Once it break, anyone will just rush out. So it might cause the big company to come in to do some, painting of the word of the charting of the candle, to show you the downside. Otherwise, as you can see what I written previously, is actually a good entry price for me, 22, 20, 18 and 15. Alright, so this is what I'm eyeing. 20. I have hold some shares at force now, so I will be going at 20. I will then go at 18 and then 15. Alright, later part. So that is why for C3I I'm not that worried, because like I said, I'm looking on more on long-term perspective and actually picking up slowly. So it's based on your ticket size, how big are you to feel comfortable or not. Alright, so next counter we will be going to which is gold. Hardly touch on commodities, so let's come back again for gold itself. Oops, sorry, I got the wrong gold. Let's go to gold itself. COMEX. Okay, so for gold, right, actually last Friday, I think it's kind of like red candlestick. It's a downside, so we will put here as a first resistance level, which is the 2000. Sorry, 2020, 20 or 25. Okay, so we put here as the first minor resistance. Then the support is between 1970 or 1980. All right, this is actually the support level we are looking. Once it break, and then we may see more on the downside. Okay, we can see that gold has been rallying up till the 2000, the mark itself. We know that 2000 is always the highest mark. I mean 2080 or 2000. All right, we are at the high side right now. So irregardless, I mean, ultimately gold is a hedge of inflation, right? And inflation at the high side, perhaps that's why the gold keep going up. But gold itself doesn't bring any value, correct or not? So when it reached the highest, and then supply and demand, I guess, is too expensive right now. Yeah, some correction might came in. So where are we looking at? First is 1970, 1970. That is the first support that we need to break through before we're able to see the next low itself. Okay, so I'm looking at that, and then I will give such a huge discount to 1920, which is I'm looking at next. Okay, so we just put here 22nd April, go support 1970/80. Okay, break below, we shall see 1920. Okay, 20 resistance immediate. Alright, we call it immediate resistance is at 2025. Okay, so this is what we are looking at. Alright, so that is for gold itself, more on the downside. And then let's take a look at one counter that kind of interesting, just purely a TA as well, gentlemen. And then we will see whether does TA works or not. Lyft, alright, is something similar to Uber or Grab. Alright, but it's just that I think they don't have delivery lah. So they are purely on transport itself. This is what I did previously in 2021. So right now come back. Why I pick up? Because I see a decent volume. Alright, good candlestick. Although we are still at the downtrend, but things to watch out because I think the company actually came out and say something whereby it's the third round to significant slash of workforce. Alright, so cutting employee actually it bring a good news to the company, spend lesser. And that is why purely on TA perspective, I'm looking at these two level after it clear $10.50 and then it clear this level $11.50, we will be looking more on the upside itself. Okay, so I will be looking at here, and then once it break, I will be looking at here. Okay, so where are we going? I mean, if you want, we can be more ambitious to cover the gap at $16. Okay, let me just draw it nicely. Sorry, gentlemen. Okay, let me once it break, then we able to see the next height. Okay, in between, if it's too much, then we just use $13, okay, as the next level first. So because ultimately it's the downside, right? So we don't be too ambitious that you will go to 16. Okay, so this is what we are looking at. Clear $10.50, $11.50, followed by 13, followed by 16. So as usual, let me write down 22nd April 2023. So clear 10.50, we'll see 11.50. Then resistance 13, max 16. Alright, so this will be looking and playing, but of course, if let's say your heart is not big enough, then you may want to stay aside. Okay, like I said, this is a downtrend, and we know that Lyft is not earnings, right? As you can see, the last earnings report, it's not doing fantastic. So we're having the earnings on the 2nd of May. Watch out. May is a sell away. I mean, sell away and go away, right? I mean, so sell in May and go away. So sorry. All right. So sell in May and go away. As we see right now, most of the index is actually at a high side. It's all relying on the last earnings report, which is the coming this week, to sustain it. So without any breakthrough, if let's say the index is going to drop, this may not be a fantastic one. So if you have big heart, then you want to give it a try, by all means to give it a try lah. All right. So that is for Lyft itself. And then we will be looking into, let me see what else. Okay, so one last counter I'm going to share to the public. If you catch it, congratulations to you. If you catch it, okay. So this is what I shared in my Telegram group, if I remember correctly. Okay, I'm not sure did I actually post. Okay, so this is what happened on Facebook. Okay, as we know that next week there's earning. Okay, next week there's earning. So we can take a look that Meta actually, I think there's a layoff news actually went out as well. So they cut employee right now. By cutting an employee, what I suspect is that it's a good news itself. The market should actually ride up. Fair enough or not? So if next week the earnings and the layoff does not bring any good sentiments to the market, all right, it may continue to drop directly. If it brings the layoff, bring a good sentiment, but the earnings does not say so, you can see that how many months Facebook has been missing the earnings. All right, if it does not say so, all this bullish, right, might be because TikTok is going to be banned, they actually can take back their marketing business through the platform. But like I said, the core business is affected. Where is Metaverse right now? All right, so ideally, the price to short is around this area. If let's say there's any bounce, we still need to look at the prior actions, candlestick. Otherwise, if you reach here, we are looking to short. People who can't wait, all right, people who can't wait, you can short at the market right now, and then our TP will be at $100, followed by 180 later on. Okay, so that is my view for Facebook currently. Stop loss is 235. Breaking above will not be a good sign. So there's a mini gameplay on this stock. We are going to put into the watch list. I'm going to text to my private group when it's time to go in, which I will be entering as well, and I will share with them. For public, I share with you the counter, my reason, and then the price level is for you to determine later on. Okay, so we will see where will this bring up. I'm very excited to see how this gameplay will be, and then I will catch you guys again next week. That's all for this week. Really market update, a short one. Enjoy your weekend. Happy holiday, happy Hari Raya to my Malay friends out there as well. All right, that's all. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.